starting
Yes.
date.
Yeah.
So we're going to start there again because I'm still a little hazy on. So you graduated high school in 1940 from York and Elmhurst.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Grandpa's full name was Lawrence Stewart Crippen, right? Now, where did he go to high school?
Glenbard.
Okay, and when did he graduate? He was what, like 2 years older than you?
4.
He was 4 years older than you.
Yeah.
So he would have graduated from Glenbard. Which Glenbard? Was there more than one at the time?
No, just one.
Just Glenbard High School.
Where the lake is.
Okay. There's Glenbard East and West now.
Yeah.
South. He went to South, didn't he?
There's a South?
Did he
Oh,
go to
man.
South with the rock?
I don't remember.
He went just 2 years to high school because Ray was going to college and they needed the money. So he went to work at a gas station and sent his check to Ray.
Hold on, who's Ray?
Ray is,
Dad's oldest, probably.
what, 2 years older?
Yeah, I think it was.
I think it's 2 years older than Dad. And he was in chemistry. He's written books on it and everything. And so he was going to go back to school. All right. Then Ray said, why don't you come up here to Iowa State? He says, you're an honor student. I'll see what I can do. Because he was a straight A student. Ray was. And so he went up there, and they said, yeah, they'll take him. So he went to college then. And
Wait, so he went to 2 years of high school
and then
went
he
to
went
Iowa
to college. 2 years of college, and war broke out. And so he signed up. And he finished, and then when he came back after the war, he went to Bradley to finish his education.
Wait, hold on.
And
I've
they
lost
said,
the plot. Who are we talking about now?
Bradley is in
Or no,
Peoria.
Who are we talking about?
Grandpa.
Okay.
Yeah.
He went off to, like, he was sent off to fight?
He enlisted in the Air Corps.
Okay, but where did he go?
He went to Texas
Okay.
for his learning. That's where he got his wings. Then we were in California, Merced Air Force Base, and he taught there a year, the basic training, B-13s. That is where the boys learn how to recover from spins, stalls, under the hood flying, trust your instruments, and many formation, many other things.
So he was teaching Air Force pilots.
Right.
Now, what...
He did that for a year in Merced Air Force Base.
Okay, but you said we, so you were already married to him at this point?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I gotta get the timeline
Oh,
down
well,
so I can follow it in.
we were
so.
married in Texas before he got his wings.
Okay, hold on. So he went to high school for 2 years, went to Iowa State, signed up to be in the Air Force,
Yeah.
and then he was sent to Texas. You joined him in Texas where you married him, and then you went to California where he taught pilots.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got the timeline. Are you clear?
Yeah, but
Okay.
how did you get proposed? Can you tell them about how you met? Did you get that last time?
Well, that's part of where I need to get to. We got to start at the beginning because I got your first date. You went bowling. You didn't think you wanted to, but you thought that you just like so people would stop bugging you.
Yeah.
But
That's right. We both thought that.
okay, so hold on. But I gotta fill in the details here because I got him going from high school straight to college. So when did he move to Elmhurst? He went to 2 years of Glenbard and then.
Well, he moved to Elmhurst. His folks bought the house across the street from us, Aunt Georgie's house, because Uncle Billy was transferred to California. And so they were in San Francisco. So Grandma Crippen liked that house, so she and Grandpa bought it. And so, of course, Laurie lived across the street from me then. But I used to see him. He was helping his dad during the summer when he was home from college, and I never paid much attention to him.
Okay, hold on. Let me back up and ask about his family then. So, now his legal name is Lawrence. Did anyone call him Lawrence?
Yes, Grandma.
Okay. Now, what were his parents' names?
Betty Brixner.
His mother's name was Betty?
Uh-huh. Well, that's the name.
got Betty's and
That's the
Elizabeth's.
name she decided on. Her real name she was named after a saint she was born in Austria. I wrote it down. Nortberg, was it?
Yeah.
I think it was Nortberg.
Wait, so
her name was
her
real
first name?
name, but she didn't like it, so she changed. Well, when she came, she heard somebody say, "Listen, Barbara," and she said, my name, Barbara. So then, I don't know, it was a few days later, she heard someone say, Betty. Oh, that's better. So she changed her name to Betty.
So she
That
was
was it.
Nortberg,
Mm-hmm.
decided to call herself Betty. Now, what was her maiden name?
Brixner.
Brix.
Brixner.
How do you spell that?
Brixner, I guess.
Yeah.
For lack of
Mhm.
better.
Brixner? Okay. So she went by Betty.
Mm-hmm.
And who was his father?
Charles. What was his last name? Charles. It was either Henry or Stewart.
I think it was Stewart, wasn't it? Charles' middle name?
It's in the genealogy. You'll have to
I'll
look
look it up.
that up.
Okay, so Charles and Betty bought the house across the street after Bill
My
and
aunt
Georgie
uncle,
moved
yeah.
to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then Lawrence and, his brother is Roy?
Gil. And
His brother's
Ray. Ray's
Gil and
the-
Ray.
Yeah, Ray is the oldest, or Gil is the youngest.
Okay, that's right. Some of this is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So they moving across the street when?
When Lori was in college.
Okay,
And,
so were you still in high school when they moved in?
No, I was working.
So this is after
This is
1940
in
then?
1941.
This is 41, okay.
And Gil had been in California he helped him move, but then he came back. And he wanted me to meet he had been wanting anyhow for quite a while to meet his brother. And I was dating. I said, no, I've got enough. And so they tricked me. My brother and Gil decided, well, Betty works a half a day right now because they're busy. She'll be home she catches the train, she should be home a little after 1. So they decided, Gil decided to take the Lori over there. He says, hey, Bud would like to play ping pong. Come on down with me. And he says, oh, okay. And so the three of them were taking off playing. And when I came in, I heard the ping pong. And I says, hey, guys. I didn't know who he was playing with. I'll go change and be there. And I dressed in my father's old shirts, and I just get comfortable. And he said, come here. I said, well, I can't play right now. I got heels and everything. Come here, I want to talk to you. So I thought, what in the world can he let me get, So I went downstairs, and there was Lori. So we both knew we were trapped. And afterwards we found out we were both thinking, all right, I'll have the one date and get it over with. And so we talked, and he was very nice. And he asked me out Saturday. I said, I have a date. And he says, what about the following Saturday? And I says, yeah, okay. So it was a week later. And then he invited me, and we had a good time. We went bowling, and we had a wonderful time. And then he called and he said, the fellas and girls he was going around with from Lombard were going to White Pines for a picnic. Would I come with them? And I said, yeah, okay. So my mother made a chocolate cake because everybody was bringing something. And Gene Dalton, who Larry is named Lawrence Eugene Crippen, was Dad's favorite boyfriend. I mean, they knew each other from kindergarten. And during the war, he would write to him from Italy. Gene was in Italy. He was a mechanic on airplanes. and he would write and send it to Grandma Crippen, because they didn't know if it would be transferred or so, and then she would send it to us. So they kept in touch all the time, and he was there, and he had his accordion, and
Nice.
he would play, and we'd all sing. Pretty soon, the people that were staying there were all around us. So they always had a big bonfire, and so we had so much fun. And it takes an hour to get there. And I looked at my watch. I thought, I got to get home. My father's going to kill me. And I stayed over. I didn't get home till midnight, and my father's waiting for me. Oh, and I said, I'm innocent. And he said, where? But I said that, he laughed. And so then I told him what went on. He said, oh, okay, then just go to bed. And so it was that, and then from then on, we just started dating. And I dropped the other guys I was going with, and that was it.
Okay, so he had gone from high school to college. Is this like over the summer when he's home from school?
Mm-hmm.
So then after you started dating, he went back to...
He went back to Iowa State. This was in 41.
Okay.
Well, of course, he was home for Christmas vacation, and they got out early because December 7th was Pearl Harbor. And we were going bowling that day, and it was a Sunday, and we all had gone to church. And so we were getting in the car, and he turned the radio on, and it said, they just bombed Pearl Harbor. And we said, where's Pearl Harbor? And the Japs did. And we sat there. None of us wanted to go bowling, and so I said, I want to go home. So I went across the street home, and everybody just split and went home. And my dad came home early. He always worked on Sundays because he was in France, and he knows what could happen. And my brother was, how old was he? He graduated in 43, and when he graduated from high school, he wanted to go in the service. My father wouldn't sign for him. So he finished 1 year of college, and then he was 18 and went in. But so Laurie went, let's see, this was December 7th. That was a Sunday. Tuesday, the following Tuesday, he and Jean and Robert, Bill and Robert, all went down and signed to get in. And he was called January 27th, 1942. To San Antonio, Texas, and he got it. He wanted to get in the Air Force because he knew how to fly, and he did want to be drafted. And so,
how did he already know how to fly? How did he already know how to fly?
Well, I should tell you that. When he was always interested in planes, and Lombard had an airport.
Oh, that's right.
And so he used to go over there, and he'd clean up or do whatever they said. And then they would write down how many hours. When he had enough, they give him a lesson. And he finally got his license, and so he could fly. So he stayed there and did more, learned ground school, and flew. He took me up in a Cub when I dated him, and he took his mother. Maybe I didn't tell you that. She came with us. And so she's going to get in. She said, now, Lawrence, you fly low and slow. I'll never forget that. Her little finger goes up.
Fly low and slow.
Oh, dear, she was
So this is his mother, Betty, who was from Austria.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she went up with him, and so when she came back, I said, how did you like it? Well, I'd rather be on the ground.
That's where I get it from.
But she was always so cute about everything, you know. And so that was that. So then he went, and I was working at that time. And we wrote back every day. I wrote to him, and he wrote to me every day. And we were so lonesome. And so if he wanted to call me on a weekend, he had to set a time. His time would be whatever was there available. and most of the time would be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
So my father, my bedroom was upstairs, so I didn't hear the phone. So it would wake my father up. And so one day he handed me the phone. He says, "Why don't you go and marry the guy so I can get some sleep?" I said, "Shh." And so Lori said, he started laughing. He says, "That's why I'm calling." I said, "I'm lonesome. I want you to come down here. We'll be married." And so I said, "Well, we'll have to think about that." So that was that he hung up.
You couldn't get a license or something right away?
No, I
Wait,
don't know.
hold on.
Oh.
So that was the proposal?
Yeah.
Was your father said, marry him so I
Yes.
can get some sleep, and he said, "That's why I'm calling"?
Yeah,
Wow.
that was my proposal.
Okay.
I already had the ring. He had said.
Now they do all kinds of.
And
Oh, it's different now, yeah.
so
Wait,
anyways,
hold on,
I
you
went down
already
there.
had a ring?
My father then went into the hospital. He was a diabetic. They didn't know much about diabetes then, and he went blind because they were trying to treat him.
Oh.
And so he didn't want my mother and I to know. We came every day to see him. And so he told the nurse, "Don't tell him." And so we would come in and he'd hear us, and then he would turn to us. But my mother said, "There's something wrong," to me afterwards. And I said, "Well, what is it?" I don't know. She says, "But there's something wrong. He doesn't have he turns," but she said, "He misses when we want to talk. Why doesn't he look at us?" And different things like this she would say. And then, so she called the doctor. She says, "I want to know everything." So he told her. And he says, "We're working on that." So it was 3 days he was blind, and then whatever they did, I don't know, he got his sight back.
Oh, wow.
And so he,
this we're talking is the late 41?
yeah,
Okay.
this was, he had called in May, I think. I think that's when he called about this, about wanting to marry. I said, "I can't go, my dad's sick." And so I stayed until he got home, and he got the strength back, and he went back to work because they were
Okay.
giving him sugar, or he carried lumps of sugar with him, and he had to have the insulin shot every day.
Huh.
And my mother had to weigh his food, so she got a scale,
Oh, yeah.
and so she would weigh his food. So my brother and I got used to not having sugar in a lot of things. She would cook. She found how to do recipes without the sugar being in it, desserts. And so he was well, and he got stronger, and he says, "Betty, I want you to go down and be married. I want to take care of the family my way." And so I said, "Well, next time he calls, I'll see what he says." So he says, "Yeah, come down." So I said, "All right, I'll be down on a Friday." I took the train.
All right, now hold on a second. You said you already had a ring from him. Ring?
Yeah, I already had my engagement ring.
Okay, when and how did that happen?
He sent it to me.
He mailed it to you?
Yeah.
From Texas?
From Texas. Mm-hmm.
Did it have a note explaining that it was an engagement ring, or?
You don't know. He told me, first of all, he sent a letter to my dad saying that I would like to marry your daughter and get permission from him. And then he sent me the ring to be engaged and called me and asked me, he said, "I'm sending a ring," he says, "an engagement ring." And so, anyways, when he called, I said, my dad said I should come down. He's feeling fine. He went back to work. He says, "Fine." So anyways, he picked me up. No.
Well, hold on. When
he
was
wasn't
this?
out. He was a cadet.
This
Yeah.
is spring of 42 then?
Yeah, this is July.
July, okay.
And so I got in and went to the hotel, and he had reserved a room, which he didn't have to do, with no one there. And so that he came in, he got a pass just for the night Friday, it came in and said, you'll have to get the license because I can't get off until noon or something. I don't know what the date, anyways, the city hall closed at noon, I remember that. I said, oh, okay, I'll go over. And so he had the papers for him, and he had to go back. And so then the next morning I got up and went to City Hall. And so the fellow looked at me and he says, how old are you? I said, 19. He says, where's your support? Who's say you can get married? I said, I came, I'm out of town. And he says, sorry, no license. And I said, I don't understand. And he says, you have to be 21 if you're going to do it on your own. Otherwise, he said, you have to have an adult come here and sign. So anyways, I left and I was crying up, I gotta go home. I can't stay here. And as I went by, there was a little old Jewish man. He had a jewelry store there, sweeping the sidewalk. And he looked up and he says, what's the matter? And I said, oh, then I really started to cry. And I can remember, and he took me in, and his wife came from the back of the store. And I told my story, and he says, come on. He says, we got time. And I said, what? And he said, I'll sign for you. And he says, you didn't run away. I said, no, you want me to call my dad? He says, no, I believe you. So we went over, and he signed for me, and I got the license. And so Laurie, he was signed, he got off at 2:30 or 3, I can't remember the time. And then one of the cadets' wives picked me up to take me to the field. She and her husband were going to be there. So we were married by a what do you call him?
Chaplain?
A pastor there, a chaplain.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Now, do you remember the name of the Jewish guy that signed for you?
No. Isn't that
I
terrible?
feel like somewhere
Would be
there's
on
a
your
paper
license.
record of that.
I should have had it. Because he was so nice, and we went back, and I wanted my folks to meet him, and I introduced him, and my dad said, I'd like to take you out to lunch, and they said no, they were busy with the store, they couldn't go, but he said, you come again. So my mother said, can't I buy something then, or do something for him? And my dad says, no, just leave him alone then. And so we went in several times on, he was the cadet, so he only got off on weekends.
Yeah.
I was living in a room and board place where I got my food. And
Tell me a little bit about your wedding. Apparently it was not a big to-do, but...
well, the wedding was just Gene and John Coyle were there. She's the one that picked me up. And Kenny Parton, and that was all.
And where was it?
In the chapel there at the Ellington Field.
Ellington Field?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it was just a little brief ceremony, and then
Yeah.
did you go out for dinner afterwards? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, we went out for dinner. We did, of course, cadets didn't make much, so I had brought some money with, so we were able to pay for theirs.
Right.
And so we had a good time. And,
Now, did you have like a bridal shower sometime?
I had bridal
near future?
showers before I left.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I had, let's see, Muriel gave me one, Donna gave me one, and my aunt I had three showers before I left. And so.
All right, hold on. Let me again do the timeline. So when was it you went bowling? The bowling date was in 41.
In May, yeah. May, I don't know, it was a Saturday.
Okay.
I don't know what the day.
So May of 41 you go bowling,
Mm-hmm.
and then June or July?
July, we were married. July
July
25th.
of 42.
Yeah,
What is it, July what?
25th.
25th. Wow. You went from reluctant date to married in about a year.
Yeah, that's right.
Stop your listening. Mom, do you have to be at lunch at a certain time? Because
Oh,
Oh,
I know you go
What time is it?
12 noon.
It is
Yeah.
noon exactly.
Because they
Do you need
only
to get
serve.
going?
We have to be there at least 12:30. Yeah.
I just want to make
Yeah.
sure you.
All right, well, we'll wrap this story up and let you get going now.
Okay.
So, all right, so May of 41, reluctant bowling date. I just write down July of 42, married, and living in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that's like cadet training.
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, you both went to California where he taught pilots how to fly the bombers.
Well, he graduated from cadet school and got his wings.
Okay.
And his folks and my folks came down together
Oh, very
for
nice.
the graduation, which was nice. And then he was waiting for his orders, and he was hoping to go overseas. But a general, there's generals in different south, the west, and north. And the west general came to this was the south, Midwest rather. He needed instructors. So he wanted to look at all the records of everybody. He wanted married men. He says, otherwise the other ones get drunk. I don't want anything. So anyways, Laurie was just put on that list that morning. And he looked at it that afternoon, and then he wanted to see the record of Laurie and all the other ones he had picked. He says, okay, I'll take this one. And he took, out of the 10, he took 7 of them. And Laurie was one of them. And so we had to go to Merced, California. And that's where he taught we went to Sacramento first. He had to learn how to fly a BT. And from the back seat, not the front. Usually they sit in the front. The student was in the front. And he had to learn all this. He had 50 hours, I think it was. It was all day, 8 hours of the day. So we got up fast. And then we were sent to Merced. And that's where he was an instructor.
Over in Merced?
Merced is near, oh dear. Well, we were 105 miles from San Francisco. We were in the San Joaquin Valley, where they make wine. And
Where were you when he took you up flying? You said he took you
in
up.
Merced,
Oh, in Merced.
yeah, he took me up in a BT.
And he showed you all kinds of things that he learned how to do. And
Yes, I lost my headset. I said, don't do that again.
tell him about that, some of that stuff, because he was highly trained on special kind of landings and stuff.
Well, yeah, he had to teach the students all of this. And so he took me up, he did a stall, and boy, you go like this. And I'm thinking, I can't get off of this this chute. How am I going to get out of the plane? Because it was a glass, and you go like that. And so I said, well, he'll have to turn the plane upside down. And with that, he went level, and I said, we aren't going to crash? And he says, no. Then he does a spin, a loop rather. And I said, and I lost my headset again, put it back on. I said, what are you doing? And he says, I'm showing you what I have to teach. I said, I don't want to know what you teach. So then we went up another time, and we land on the side of a mountain, short runway.
Oh, wow.
And that's where he told me now I have to rev up the engine. And he said, when I take off, I'm going to drop, but then we'll come back up. He said, don't be frightened, we're fine. I thought, oh no, what's he doing now? And this was a place where only instructors went, and most people didn't know about it. And so we did, we took off, and zoom. I said, boy, it's a good thing I hadn't eaten. And, oh dear, but that was, then we went up through formation with the other instructors and their wives. And I was up 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
And so enjoyed it after we got through playing with those sons.
Now, how long were you married before you had, is Pat the oldest?
Pat was born in 43, December of 43.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, and Richard was born in 43 of January. They were both born the same year.
Just on other sides of the country.
Yeah,
Wow.
January and December.
Right.
Uh,
Well, next time we'll start there with the introduction of the babies into the family.
Oh,
Which
I
is
better
you
be here.
people.
Yeah, I'm gonna be here to listen as a witness.
No. I'm gonna make you leave the room so she can tell me stories. But yeah, this has been awesome. So we've got up through the very beginning of the 40s and just before the children's are introduced.
Right.
So next time we will start there with Pat and Jan and Tom and little Rugrats,
Edie and Larry.
and you can tell me all the terrible stories. Thanks for doing this
Well,
again.
they were born in Roswell, New Mexico. See, we were transferred.
Right, which is why everyone thinks there are
tell you
aliens there.
something.
And when Jan was in first grade, the teacher wanted to know where they were born, and so she said Mexico. And so she was looking at the PTA for a dark-skinned Mexican woman.
Ah.
And so she couldn't find one, and so then they went to the different rooms. So I went to the room and I said, "I'm Betty Crippen." And her mouth just stood. And I said, she said, "I'm sorry, but I was looking for a Mexican woman." And I said, "You know, why?" And she says, "Well, your daughter said you were married and born in Mexico." And I said, "Oh no." I said, "It's New Mexico."
Oh, what did I know? New Mexico, Old Mexico, it's all the same.
How old the Mexico was? It was Mexico.
Oh,
So it begins. All right, well, I'll let you get to lunch, but let's do this again next week.
okay.
Awesome.